Welcome to our show, Obsessed, where we talk about cryptids, mythology, folklore, and whatever else we're currently obsessed with. I'm Caitlin Palmer.
And I'm Clay.
And we're
Obsessed.
Well, good morning and welcome back to Obsessed with the Palmers, and I'm wishing the best day ever to everyone except for people who dump kittens on the side of the road or hit and run vehicles, because you guys can get fucked.
So we've had a busy week.
Oh, God.
Which you might have noticed by the lack of an episode.
Yeah, sorry guys, life finds a way.
Yeah, from a hit and run car accident to us finding 3 kittens on the side of the road that someone dumped.
Yep. Plus, we're pet sitting and preparing to go out of town, and it's just a whole lot. One of our cats was just in the hospital because she can't shit.
She can now.
Well, allegedly. I don't know. We had to get her freaking irrigated.
Yeah, so it's been a rough one.
It's been something.
We're releasing this episode, but we will have another week break in between because we are going out of state.
Yes, but you'll find out all about that soon enough.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a special episode on that trip as well.
Yes.
Similar to our Abita Springs Mystery Hotel.
But somewhere bigger!
Mystery Museum and Haunted Hotel.
Oh, that was so amazing though, wasn't it?
It was very good.
We were going to go up there today, but we just were too tired.
Yeah. Maybe next time. But what we have for you today is, I guess, a run-of-the-mill cryptid.
Oh, I'm excited. Clay's back to not telling me what he's talking about, so.
I've been not telling you what I was talking about.
Rude.
So before we get started, just to let you know where I'm pulling this information from, someone on Bluesky mentioned this cryptid. I had never heard of it before.
Ooh.
And was immediately interested. So it got put on the list for me to do as soon as possible.
Nice.
I'm getting my information from True West, History of the American Frontier. Good old Wikipedia, of course. Legendsofamerica.com and The Strange Tale, Notes from the Frontier.
Ooh.
So you might notice a little bit of a theme with like some of these places I'm getting here. This talking about.
So we're going west.
We're going to the Wild West.
Ooh.
Before I tell you exactly what this is, I think I want to give you a little bit of a history lesson.
Okay.
That's going to explain where this came from. Have you ever heard of the United States Camel Corps?
I have actually, yes.
That's surprising. I wasn't expecting that. So,
but do tell for the listeners.
So, in the mid-19th century, just before the turn of the century, so we're looking at like 1836 through 60-some. This is a period of time where we were still expanding west.
All about get a hold of yourself.
I'm not cutting any of this. They're going to hear you not knowing any of the fucking lyrics of this song.
I don't want to see my head with my hip react without a miss from the start of it. Running the game. James West, King of the West. Remember the name.
This all happened during what was known as the westward expansion of the United States.
Okay.
A particular time in our history.
I know that's like we were actually expanding like our country, but it sounds like a game expansion. And that's how I'm going to think of it.
I mean, kind of.
Yeah.
You know, there was the Louisiana Purchase back in 1803. This is after that.
Yeah, we were like buying up the land.
We were getting it.
And we were definitely not stealing it from Native Americans.
Right, of course.
We were the first illegal immigrants.
And it's all Britain's fault.
It is.
You said you know about the United States Camel Corps.
Yes. I know of the United States Camel Corps. Like, I don't know about the super details, but I know, like, there was a time where we, like, tried to utilize camels.
Right. Our military tried to utilize camels for our southwestern part of the United States.
Right.
Arid, deserty kind of place with plenty of mountains and things as well. Camels seemed like the natural choice.
Sure.
Although if you know anything about camels, you know that they're not particularly amenable as an animal. You know, much like a donkey, they're known to be stubborn and selective.
Why'd you look at me like that?
I don't know. I was just talking about it.
Just spitting facts. Austin. By the way, Clay's real name is Austin. If y'all want to just refer to him as Austin.
I'm cutting all that out, so it doesn't matter.
not fair.
Several studies were conducted looking at utilizing camels for this purpose. So this wasn't just something that came out of nowhere. I mean, it kind of was, but there was some backing to it.
Well, sure, and there's, proof throughout the years that camels have been very useful to people.
You had Major George H. Crossman and Major Henry C. Wayne, both from the military, looking into the utilization of camels and pushing for this kind of thing.
Sure.
The main one who was pushing for the establishment of the United States Camel Corps is actually put forward by Senator Jefferson Davis of Mississippi.
Hey, we've been to his house, actually.
Have we been to his house?
Well, we went on a field trip back in the day, long ago.
Okay, I don't think I have. Maybe you went.
I did. I went to his house.
But he was unable to get this off the ground until he was made Secretary of War in 1853 by the then President Franklin Pierce.
Okay.
Basically, this whole operation sucked.
Okay. Why?
Because nobody in charge knew shit about camels. They were supposed to find out about camels and didn't do a whole lot of that.
They did a lot of fucking around and not a lot of finding out. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay.
They ended up hiring camel drivers, both Arab and Turkish, conducting experiments in Texas. They were supposed to conduct experiments in regards to how long a camel could survive without water.
Oh.
Which they never did.
Okay.
But these were some of the things that they were supposed to be testing for, right? Like
Sure.
how far they could be made to march in a single day. How little food and water they could survive on.
Yeah.
Because, U.S. government is always cutting corners when it comes to things like that.
Yeah?
Not everybody working on it, obviously, but clearly the people in charge didn't care too much about the well-being of the camels, necessarily.
Ugh. We also briefly tried to bring hippos to the United States to raise to eat.
I am so glad that did not kick off, because if there were just wild hippos out in Louisiana...
That'd be bad.
It'd be terrible. The alligators...
They're bad enough.
I say they're bad enough. I mean, they mostly don't mess with you. A hippo would.
Yeah. Hippos just want to kill people for no reason, and I think that's beautiful.
They even attempted a breeding program for the camels, basically to replenish their numbers.
Don't camels have, really long gestational periods?
I am not sure what the gestational period is on a camel, but I can tell you that our military then was not equipped to handle it.
Okay. Note to self, look up just camel gestation. I didn't even bring my phone in here because I always forget to turn it off, and no one will message me for 5 days. The second we start recording, it starts going off. Squeeps the bearded dragon has entered the chat. She says, hello.
Hello.
She actually said a lot of things we can't repeat because we'll get in trouble with Daddy YouTube.
With Daddy YouTube?
With Daddy YouTube.
On top of being poorly prepared and hopefully ignorant of what it takes
of camel care.
Of camel care in general, then the Civil War happened.
Oh, crap.
So
that old thing.
That old thing. The camp where a lot of this was taking place ended up falling into Confederate hands and then was recaptured some years later. During this time, camels would die or go missing. Even one instance of a camel being killed by another camel during rutting season.
Oh, that old song and dance.
During all of this, some camels were just straight up released.
Okay.
As opposed to attempting to care for them or to do anything else with them.
Poor camels!
I say all this to say that at one point, the United States did just have wild camels.
And that's wild.
Feral camels roaming the desert. All of this happened because they wanted to build a transcontinental railroad, right, expanding west. So you had these camels stationed at camps in Texas, moving through Arizona, even going as far west as Los Angeles.
Oh, wow, okay.
After the war was settled, a lot of the camels that they still had in captivity were sold off at an auction. Some ended up in zoos or circuses, but like I said, some were just released or even escaped.
Sure.
Something that camels can be known to do.
Yeah.
They're pretty big. They can rear up pretty tall.
Yeah.
And I think that people probably underestimate camels a lot.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't.
No.
People kind of forget about how big camels are,
Yeah.
which is to say pretty big.
Camels are pretty big.
So today I'm talking about a cryptid from Arizona.
Okay.
One that we actually know, and this is a little bit spoilery, we know to be true.
Ooh.
This is the red ghost of Arizona.
I've never heard of this.
I hadn't either.
The red ghost of Arizona?
The red ghost of Arizona.
Okay.
Which was described as being a large, blood-soaked camel
Oh.
with a human skeleton riding his back.
Oh, that is so dope. Stop it. That is sick.
Very cool.
So sick.
Tales of the Red Ghost would have it being seen out in the desert, in the distance, and usually following that, surrounding animals would die. You know, herd animals, cow, that kind of thing. It's seen almost like an omen. There were stories of the Red Ghost killing and eating a grizzly bear.
Oh, no.
Stories of it disappearing whenever you would give chase to it, like into sand and dust, and even killing a person.
Ooh.
However, that wasn't just a story.
Oh?
Someone lost their life to the Red Ghost of Arizona.
Ooh. I wish I had snacks. This is interesting. Go. Keep going.
In 1883, on a ranch at Eagle Creek, near the border of New Mexico and Arizona, a woman was literally trampled to death by the Red Ghost of Arizona.
This is documented? Like this is a real thing?
This is documented.
Oh my God.
2 ranchers went out to check on their livestock, leaving behind their kids and their wives in the houses. One woman heard a terrible scream and rushed to the window to see what it was, where she saw, quote, a huge reddish-colored beast ridden by a devilish-looking creature.
Oh.
She locked her door, and she waited for the men to come back. However, when the men returned, they found her and the children safely locked inside, but one of the ranchers' wives was dead.
Oh.
Outside, she had been trampled to death, and the scream the first woman had heard was her.
Oh.
Likely trampled to death by the creature she saw.
Yeah. Would make sense. Unless all the creatures around it stampeded.
The following day, the men followed the footprints left behind, where they found red hair, confirming the woman's description, tangled up in some brush along the trail.
Ooh, interesting. And I bet that hair doesn't survive till this day.
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
A few days later, the creature would be seen again. This time, it wouldn't just be a large, red-haired creature. It would be described as being 30 foot tall.
Oh, geez.
Knocking over wagons, thrashing up a camp, and once again, red hair was found. Soon everybody was seeing this creature. Like I said, there were stories of someone seeing it kill and eat a grizzly bear. Wow. Which, as you know, a grizzly bear is big as all hell.
Yes.
Whereas other people had seen it and described it as having disappeared into dust.
Uh-huh. That's so cool.
At one point, a local cowboy would actually try and lasso this creature.
Oh, that's awesome.
But in the struggle, he was knocked from his horse and nearly trampled to death.
Oh, God, yeah.
But having got such a close and good look at the creature, the figure riding its back, he could describe perfectly as a human skeleton.
Ooh. And it was sitting upright? It wasn't like...
It was riding the camel.
Wow.
It would be a few more months before it was seen again, where a group of men saw the creature and tried to shoot it to death. As you might expect.
As one does.
They were unsuccessful. The creature ran off, but they did shoot the head of the skeleton off. The skull still had long black hair attached by skin to the skull top.
That's so cool. Was it a Native American?
There were all kinds of stories of what it was. A spirit of vengeance, an omen of death.
We would deserve that. I'm just saying. Guys.
You see a skeleton riding a blood-red camel, and you're gonna assume the worst.
Well, yeah. I would assume it's time to buy new pants because I would have both pissed and shit in the ones I was currently wearing.
I want to just show you a picture of the Red Ghost of Arizona, and we'll post some on our site.
Oh, it looks so cool!
Yeah, no, it's simplistic in design,
I love it!
So very good.
Wow.
I'll have to cut that burp out and make it a ringtone. Now, some of these stories have, your typical sort of iterations.
Right.
You'll have the one where the men come upon the creature and shoot it and knock the skull off. There are stories where they didn't actually knock the skull off. There are stories where they continued to pursue the creature for a while. This is one of those creatures that I enjoy, much like the Enfield Horror or the Phantom of the Flatwoods. Where you get a bunch of different sightings, but it's a creature that just kind of shows up and then leaves. This did take place over quite a few years.
Okay.
I think it first showed up in 1855, and then you had stories about it all the way to 1893.
Wow.
Although the skeleton bit did come a little bit later.
Okay, so originally it was just a blood-soaked camel?
Originally it was just described as a red beast.
Okay.
And then it morphed into a camel, and then a blood-soaked camel, and then a blood-soaked camel with a skeleton riding its back.
It just gets cooler.
Yeah, it just keeps getting cooler. As time marches on, it just keeps getting cooler. Quick thing about camels. Where do you think camels originally came from?
Asia.
Most people believe that they would come from the Middle East, right? That's what
Right.
we associate them with. But actually, camels originated in North America.
Really?
And made the trek over the land bridge.
I didn't know that.
So it's kind of fun that they end up coming back here, but then never, they only had a couple dozen camels.
Right.
I think it was 31 camels
Sure.
that they had for this experiment to try to, deliver mail and water and resources across the desert, because it was believed that camels could carry a whole bunch more.
Sure.
It was believed that they could carry twice as much as any horse or mule could.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's not necessarily true. But that's what they believed, so that's why
Sure.
the U.S. government was like, okay, here's $30,000.
Right.
Please find out how to make camels work for us.
Yeah.
Of course, that didn't happen, but there you go.
God, $30,000 back then was a lot.
Yeah, $30,000 isn't nothing,
Right.
but back
Well,
then
but
it
in
was
the
certainly a lot
1800s,
more.
it was way more than it is now. My shirt's on backwards.
You dumbass. Now, all of this is to say that it wasn't a total failure, I guess.
We found out what doesn't
We
work.
found out what doesn't work. But also, there was a Syrian camel driver whose name was Hadi Ali, which the U.S. military, or the people that worked with him, ended up nicknaming him Hi Jolly.
Hi, Jolly.
Which
Aw.
is kind of fun.
That's
Hi
cute.
Jolly.
Yeah. That's kind of cute.
He served as a camel master and scout for over 30 years. Spent most of his life here in America, and then died in 1902.
Oh, wow.
They built a monument to Hi Jolly, which a lot of people will probably think about when I mention camels in Arizona, because this is where it was erected. But it is a large monument, a pyramid with a big plaque on it about Hi Jolly, and it has a metal camel affixed to the top of it.
It does, and it's got some rust that looks like blood.
Well, you didn't have to throw that. This is just a cool little bit about camel drivers.
It is, but I liked the blood.
You liked the blood.
I like the blood.
So Hi Jolly did work with camels in doing some of this transportation, similar to what they set out to do, but obviously their main goal failed.
Sure.
And then we were left with the vengeful spirit of the Red Ghost of Arizona
Wow.
as penance for our failure, and the many camels who were
Mistreated,
lost, died, sold to circuses, which we know how that goes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the circus hasn't been known for treating its animals good.
No, it has not.
I don't know about modern day circuses.
God, I can only hope they've gotten better.
I would
But
assume
they can't be great.
Yeah, I would assume, but it can't be great. Damn, I got more details on that. The camel that killed the other camel, that sucks. Seed, Beale's favorite white camel, fought with Hi Jolly's male camel, Thule, during rut season and was killed by a crushing kick to the head.
Oh, wow.
They did send off that camel's bones to the Smithsonian Institute.
Awesome.
But he's probably just locked in a box somewhere. You know how it goes.
Yeah,
You know how
like
it
in the
goes there.
archives somewhere, sure. That's where I want to go, is like behind the scenes at the Smithsonian. And see like the human flesh-bound books and stuff. Is that at the Smithsonian? I think that's at the Smithsonian.
Maybe. Yeah, unfortunately, some of the camels were mistreated, dying from exhaustion or thirst. Basically, they were trying to make them go faster, which is
Right.
not what camels are necessarily known for.
No. They're about the marathon.
Right, yeah. They're built for long distances, not necessarily speed. Obviously, you would want a horse for something like that.
Right.
But they wanted the best of both worlds. They're like, well, you're as tall as a horse and as much of an asshole as a donkey, so you should have the qualities of both.
Yeah, you're definitely not your own unique animal.
Right. I was just looking. There is a grave for old Douglas.
Oh.
Quote, as his grave reads, Old Douglas was the faithful, patient camel of the 43rd Mississippi Infantry for the Confederacy, ridden by Lieutenant W.H. Hargrove. To the band, Douglas at first frightened all of the 43rd's horses, but soon became a favorite of both beasts and men.
Aww.
The 43rd was henceforth called the Camel Regiment. Douglas served in Iuka, Corinth, Central Mississippi, and Vick's campaigns, intentionally killed by Yankee sharpshooters near the end of the siege. He may have been eaten by the starving Confederates. Douglas' death was greatly mourned, and as a 43rd vet wrote about him, his service merits record.
Oh, moment of silence for old Douglas.
For old Douglas. So unfortunately, a lot of camels did suffer at the hands of...
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a good time for our camel friends.
Well, that's why we've got the Red Ghost.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, and again, I didn't know this was the topic, so I have not had a chance to research camels, nor do I have my phone in the room because it always goes off when we're recording. I feel like camels are very intelligent. And I feel like they carry grudges.
Yeah, they're not stupid. I think they are known to carry grudges.
Yeah,
I think that's
they
one of their
spit
little
on
quirks.
people. That's one of the jokes about camels is they'll spit on you.
Right, and they'll get all their friends to spit on you too.
Yeah. I got to interview a doctor on Desk Bench Confessions who is really good friends with a camel, and it was very, very sweet.
Really good friends with a camel?
Yeah, like she has a pet camel / a friend has a pet camel, and she's like posts about him a lot. He's really cool.
I have one final story about the Red Ghost of Arizona.
Okay, please tell me.
This is the last sighting of him, because this is where he was killed.
Okay.
Yeah, imagine killing the Horseman of Death itself.
I don't like that.
Farmer Mizu Hastings woke up one morning to find the creature grazing in his yard. He got his rifle, and he shot it dead, killing it with a single shot.
Damn. Bro was just snacking.
He, of course, summoned people to come and view the Red Ghost.
Yeah.
Because he's the man who slew it, to discover that it was just a camel. The camel's fur had been stained red from moisture and the dust of Arizona, notably red dirt.
Right.
Which gave a particular visage, this camel. And strapped to its back was in fact a human skeleton.
What?
Still intact, bound to the creature with leather straps. No one knows anything about this human skeleton. They don't know who it was. They don't know how he came to be this way. They don't know why he came to be this way. There are many stories, some saying that it was a prospector who was dying of thirst, who tied himself to the camel in hopes that it would bring him back to a town where he could be rescued. There are tales of part of this camel corps, one instructor losing patience with one of the recruits and tying him to the camel as part of like the training. But then the camel becoming lost.
Right.
And them not able to recover the recruit. But the more verifiable stories have been simply lost to time. Instead, what we are left with is a single newspaper article about the Red Ghost. In an article titled "The Yarn of the Red Ghost," Red Ghost is dead. Red Ghost was not an Indian chief or yet a phantom, though he was doubtless once thought to be a creature without a material body by the superstitious Indio-Spaniards, in whose camps he visited during the first year of his wildness. Quick break from the from the newspaper. They're going to use some outdated terms.
This is not our words. These are the quotes from the newspaper of the time. We don't talk like this anymore. We shouldn't have talked like this then.
Red Ghost was a camel, a big, ugly, sand-colored beast, the largest and wickedest of the band turned loose by the government in the valley of Salt River years ago. These camels were brought to Arizona with the idea that they would be useful for packing the soldiers' camp stuff across the southwestern deserts. But somehow they did not do, and rather than feed them, the officers turned them loose. For years they ranged through the hills there, startling lonely prospectors in their camps, making horses break their stake ropes and occasionally devastating the fields of some isolated rancher. Every little while, one of the band would be lassoed by the cowboys. A circus bought one or two, several were shot, and all the others were driven into the wilderness of the Upper Salt and the Gila rivers. During the big Apache raid of '82, a strange story came in from a camp of Mexican placer miners on the San Francisco River. One night, something tore right through their stock. They woke up and grabbed their guns, but long before their rifles were up to their shoulders, the thing had vanished down the dark canyon of the river. But they heard it crashing through the brush, and from the direction it went came wild screams, getting fainter and fainter, and at last dying away in the distance. In the morning they found tracks unlike any they had ever seen before. 2 days later, a rancher on the Blue River, 40 miles from the placer camp, saw a great red beast rush past his place. He saw it only for an instant in the dusk, but he declared that it was ridden by something that looked like a man. He heard no screams, or indeed any sounds at all except the crashing of the beast through the brush. He was too frightened to give away any description of what he saw, and his vision was generally set down by the incredulous Americans as simply the result of too much mescal. It's hard to read. This newspaper is very faded. And
Sure.
even having been digitally scanned and uploaded.
Yeah, no, you're doing great, because I would not have made it past the first sentence.
But others saw it. Some of the places at which it appeared were 200 miles away from where it was first seen. La Fantasmia Colorado, the Mexicans called it, and this was translated by the white men into Red Ghost. Finally, a man who had courage enough to look at it as it charged past him said that it was a big camel with something on its back. Then a party of prospectors saw it grazing a long way off near the head of Chase's Creek. They crept up near enough to make sure that it was a camel and got a shot at it. They missed, but as the creature sprang away, something dropped from it. They picked this up. It was a heavy boot, and it was what was left of a man's leg from the knee down.
Oh, wow.
Though stripped of its supernatural tributes, the name Red Ghost stuck to the camel. He was seen several times after the occasion when the human leg fell from his back, but always at a distance. The bundle was always fast to him. Old-timey language, I don't know what the fuck that means.
Like fastened. It was fast to him.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
One day, a cowboy rounding up cattle among the hills in the upper Gila came suddenly upon the Red Ghost in a blind cannon. Before the animal was a high wall, and the boxed sides of the gulch were insurmountable. The only way it could escape was to run past the cowboy, and this it tried to do, but the man accustomed to the wild charges of Mexican steers was too quick for the Asiatic brute. The long riata hummed through the air, and the loop settled around the camel's neck. The Red Ghost was caught. The camel did not propose to give up his freedom so easily. With a scream, he charged right at the man on horseback. The rider had played too many mean bulls to be caught by any such maneuver. A jerk brought the cowpony back on his haunches and swung him one side, so that the screaming brute passed by harmlessly. The bull's wild rush is made blindly with head down. When he misses, his momentum carries him far past the object of his attack. This gives the cowboy time to recover and throw another coil. With the camel, it was different. His eyes were open and his head was outstretched when he made the charge. He was back to the attack almost before the pony had got his hooves again in the ground. He struck the horse full in its side. The blow knocked the pony flat. Before the man could disentangle himself, the camel had him by the thigh. It was a vicious bite, and it tore the muscles frightfully. Then, with a bound, the camel was gone, tearing the horn of the saddle off, his sharp hooves striking Rista at every jump. Soon cut the rawhide left him untrammeled, except for a few feet of lasso that still hung to his neck. When they found the cowboy, he was almost dead from loss of blood. He did die from his injuries, but first he told the story of his adventure with the camel. He declared that there was a man's body on the camel's back. They returned to the scene of the encounter and found the bones of an arm, with the dried skin still holding them together, and a skull, to which the black hair still hung. Then they organized parties to hunt Red Ghost and learn the mystery of his gruesome pack. They didn't get the Red Ghost then. One party did get sight of him as he galloped over a ridge, but he had lost his burden and went like the wind. They chased him, but the stout ponies were no match for this creature over the loose sandy hills. All of this happened years ago. Since the killing of the cowboy in the Upper Gila, Red Ghost has frequently been seen. 3 weeks ago, Happy Jack Humphreys, who runs a ranch on Eagle Creek, peered out of his window just about daybreak. There, in the middle of his tomato patch, stood a big red camel, playing havoc with the vines. Happy Jack just crawled back to the corner of his cabin and got his Winchester. He took a dead rest over the sill and let go. Down went Red Ghost among the tomato vines. Another bullet through his head finished him. When the rancher went out to examine the dead beast, he found strips of rawhide wound and twisted all over his back and his shoulders, and even under his tail, Crooper fashion. There are certain knots and fastings that are made with buckskin and rawhide that no white man will take the trouble to learn. So when Happy Jack's eye glanced over the twist and arrowhead splices, he exclaimed, Apaches. It is also said that the fastings were tied so securely to the Red Ghost that it dug into his flesh.
Oh, no.
And had become infected and healed over time.
Sure. Well, I was thinking, my gosh, to have carried around a skeleton that long.
Yeah.
Any kind of burden that long.
That's all there is on that article.
Sure.
From January 8th, 1891. The last sighting of the Red Ghost.
Do you know what they did with his body?
I do not. Unfortunately, there's not much else about the Red Ghost other than that.
Well, that's a shame because it's so cool.
It is a shame. There is also a story where the name Red Ghost is used again, and it is of a tale told by German soldiers during World War II of a Russian soldier that killed hundreds of them single-handedly.
Okay.
I think they made a movie about that.
Probably did.
But that's also pretty sick.
That's pretty sick. Not as sick as the camel, though. Oh, my God.
Yeah, so there you go. There's
That's
the
so
Red
cool.
Ghost of Arizona. As far as I'm concerned, Arizona's dopest cryptid.
Yeah.
Found to be
A real thing.
a real thing.
Oh, I love it.
Maybe not a vengeful spirit, but at least not in a literal sense.
Right.
I can't say that the camel was not vengeful.
The camel had to have been vengeful.
He did apparently. So that's 2 confirmed deaths.
Yeah.
At least according to this newspaper.
That's that we know of because...
That we know of, sure.
We don't know
One
about
lady trampled to death, which I saw multiple places.
Yeah.
This, with the man being bit on the thigh and bleeding out, I only saw once.
Yeah.
But it does mention a cowboy that lassoed the Red Ghost in a few different places. Mm-hmm. This article is the only place I saw where it mentioned that the camel bit and killed this man.
Right. Well, yeah, it got so infected, I bet.
Yeah, well, he bled out.
Yeah.
It probably bit him. It probably got that femoral artery. Is that the one that goes to your leg?
It's like on the inside of your leg.
Right, the inside of your thigh. Probably got him there. Yeah, a camel bite has got to be...
It can't be good.
It can't be good.
It can't be good.
I mean, if you've ever seen horse teeth...
Yeah.
Like how a horse skull looks. There's a lot of empty room and then there's just teeth at the front. So
Right.
It looks like something that would be terrifying to get bit by.
Yeah.
I assume a camel's the same.
I think they have teeth kind of like... I don't know. Look it up.
While
I don't
I
want to sound stupid.
Google a camel skull real quick. It's worse.
Oh.
It's worse. They have like canine teeth.
Oh my god, they have sharp... What?
Yeah, they have sharp teeth. That makes sense. They do eat like cactus and stuff.
Yeah, but... Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, it looks like the skull of a demon dog.
It does. It
Do
looks
yourself
wicked.
a favor. Look at the skull of
a camel. Does it say what kind of camel, or does it just use the term camel?
I couldn't find what kind of camels they used for the camel core. It simply said camels. There are obviously different types of camels.
Sure.
And maybe they could have found a better breed of camel that would have been more suited for this. But it doesn't seem like they did a super good job with the camels. In general. I could maybe infer from like pictures of the camel core, but I don't know enough about camels to make that kind of call.
Sure.
Because in some pictures you've got like the camels that have like the very tall dual humps.
Yeah.
And then you got like the more
Like the cigarette camel.
more like the cigarette camel, yeah, the Marlboro or the Camel's brand cigarette.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just saw another picture of the Red Ghost and I was like, damn, that looks sick.
Let me see. Oh, that is so cool.
So cool. So dope.
I want that framed on our wall.
That one's good too.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah, we'll post some pictures of the Red Ghost on our various
Social media platforms.
medias.
Bam, 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 bam.
I don't like that. That's AI art. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, we have a moral problem with AI art.
Artists should be paid.
What? Pay artists? But then they won't be starving anymore.
Yeah, I know it.
Save this pain, use it for your art.
So shout out to the Red Ghost. Shout out to High Jolly. Douglas. It wasn't his choice to join the Confederacy.
No.
So don't hold that against old Douglas.
Poor old Douglas. He was just Good old camel.
Yeah, he was just doing what camels do.
It's scary. It's dope. It's sick as fuck. But it's also kind of sad.
It's also kind of sad, yeah. I mean, humans in general, but also the U.S., have a long history of trying to use animals for various reasons, and then those animals dying.
Or suffering greatly.
Or suffering greatly. What's the dog's name that they sent out into space? With,
Laika.
With just no intent to ever retrieve the dog. They're like, let's just send one into space real quick.
That'll actually make me cry. And we have a picture of Laika.
Yeah, we got a picture of Laika.
And it's hung up by our back door so that when we let our dogs out, we're like, Laika, if you were here, we would love
We'd let you outside, I guess?
Yeah, we'd let you outside and give you treats and heartworm prevention. Don't forget your heartworm prevention. But yeah, shame on humans for Laika. Laika deserves to be remembered. And it's super sad, and I hate it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring up Laika.
Laika's a touchy subject! My friend actually had the print, and it was so beautiful. I was like, oh my god, that's Laika. That's the dog they sent into space, and it's so terrible and sad. But it's a beautiful memory. And actually, the artist who did it, I'll just say her name, Claire Bear. She's wonderful. But she has like a big, like the original at her house. Oh. And she said that she's like, I would have loved you, Laika. You deserve to be a dog.
No.
And that's sweet.
Claire Bear is a local artist here in our town that ends up doing a lot of like the window art for
she does,
local
and she's
businesses.
Amazing.
Yeah, very good. She has a very particular style.
She does. It's very sweet, and I love it. And I love my Claire Bear prints. Thank you for my Claire Bear print, Amber. I love it.
This is where we bring up again, you should pay artists.
You should. Speaking of artists, pay them.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna plug for us. You're like announcing our new Patreon.
I know, right? No, we do have a Redbubble though. If you would like to buy some original art. Well, it's not original art, but it's like originally drawn by me.
I mean, yeah, you made the art. If you want art that Caitlin did, which is mostly just kind of like joke art of things that she thought was funny.
Hey, some of it's really funny.
Yeah.
Like the butt that's running, and it says running behind.
Yeah, it says running behind. It's a very good dad joke. And then, of course, some art of actual topics that we've covered.
Yes, and I really want to draw the red ghost.
Hey, go ahead. I won't stop you.
I might do it.
We do set the prices pretty low for our Redbubble, because Redbubble charges you for, like, if you want a shirt, they charge you the full price of a shirt. And they're like, okay, and now the artist puts whatever percentage on top.
Right.
So we set it like 5%.
Yeah, we set it the lowest, so don't see those prices and go, oh my god, the Palmers are making bank off
Right,
us.
no, if you buy one of their ridiculously priced $17 mugs, we get like $1.
Yeah, yeah. I would love to eventually open our own shop, but it's just, that's kind of in the future.
Yeah, no, this is just for if someone's interested, they want the stuff, you can get it.
Right. And we'll think you're cool.
We'll think you're cool. The stuff that has the new logo that was drawn by my brother, I did set as a higher price because that's his art, and that goes to him. Yeah,
that's amazing. He did an awesome job.
Yeah.
On our new logo, and I love it. He also designed my logo for my business, which is Cat's Meow Content Creation. So if you need help with your social media, especially veterinary clinics or pet care providers, I got you. cpalmer.catsmeow@gmail.com.
Well, since you're doing a shameless plug, what does it do? What do you do?
So I do social media posts. I post a minimum of 3 times a week, depending on the engagement and what times are the best for your audience. We post 3 times a week. We manage reviews.
And of course, we've got our social media. So if it's a week like this,
right,
where we're off schedule and we're just doing what we can, you can find out what's going on.
Right.
We post on Bluesky at OWTP Podcast.
And then we're also on Instagram and Facebook, Obsessed with the Palmers. And if you would like to request a cryptid or a subject to be covered, your own obsession, if you will, you can email us at
obsessedwiththepalmers@yahoo.com.
Clay personally answers every email, so please don't think you're bothering us. I promise you're not. We actually really look forward to it.
Yeah, she runs the Facebook. I do the Blue Sky and the email.
Right. And the Instagram. I do Instagram too.
And Caitlin does the Instagram, something that she forgets about.
I do, because I'm an old lady and I still use Facebook. How else am I supposed to know when it's people's birthdays? I don't. Even with Facebook.
Does it not tell you people's first? I haven't been on Facebook in God knows how long.
That's smart.
Yeah. I feel better mentally.
Yeah.
by not being on Facebook.
I feel very gross after I've been on Facebook, but I do like looking at people's stuff. Well, Clay, I think we still have to rate the ghost.
Oh, yeah, you're right. We probably should rate the red ghost of Arizona.
Do you think it's still haunting Arizona, or you think it found peace? I hope it found peace.
I like to believe that he found peace.
Okay. Me too. I choose to believe that. That's what happened.
All right. How likely are you to survive an encounter with the red ghost of Arizona?
Oh, I'd get trampled because I would go try to pet it.
Yeah. Hey, look, the red ghost ain't no fuck around. He apparently did some killing.
He did. Well, do you blame him? My goodness. Poor guy.
No, I don't blame him too much. Like, especially, it sounds like he tried to run away a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was
the cowboy
pursued.
guy.
Sure.
He got cornered and lassoed, and he's like, you know what? Bite. Mm-hmm. And then he left. Like, he didn't even stay around to kill him. So.
He was like, leave me alone.
I actually might be able to survive an encounter because then I just wouldn't mess with him.
Right. So, yeah, no, Clay's smart. Clay's always telling me not to approach wild animals.
Yeah, a wild raccoon came up to me, like, within 3 feet, and I pointed towards the woods, and I said, hey, you ain't supposed to be this close to me. And I, like, pointed at the woods, and he's like, oh, and he, like, ran away. Like, he was just coming up, like, hey, what's up? And I was like, oh, hell no. You are a wild animal, sir. Be gone.
And I'm like, hey, baby, come here. You hungry?
And I love raccoons. I would love to pick one up and hold them. But I'm not a fool, and I know that a raccoon will destroy my face and body. They're more or less like feral cats.
Wild animals belong in the wild.
Wild animals belong in the wild.
And
appreciate them from afar.
I'm still going to try to make friends with them.
Can't believe you. All right, I'll give myself a... Well, you can give yourself a number.
-2.
-2. You will be killed by the red ghost.
I will be killed by the red ghost.
I'll say 7. And that's mostly just...
Avoiding it.
Yeah, he doesn't come near me and I don't come near him.
Sure, or you see him and you're like, safe travels, and you leave.
The 3 points that are reserved for that are him just being like, actually...
Yeah. Actually, you know what?
How spooky is the red ghost of Arizona?
The red ghost is so spooky.
It's pretty spooky.
It's spooky. I'm going to give this a 3 spooky 5 me.
Okay. I'll take a 2 spooky. And it's because the desert is known to play visual tricks on you.
See, that's part of what makes it so scary.
Right. It's hard to judge distance because of how flat and barren the desert of Arizona and New Mexico can be. The heat plays tricks on you visually, even if not just mentally, if you were succumbing to heat exhaustion.
Right.
Or fatigue. And then you've got a blood red camel with an actual human skeleton strapped to his back.
And you know it makes a noise, like when he walks.
Oh, yeah. The cool, like,
it, like
bone
rattles.
jangling noise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Camels are big.
Camels are awesome.
Camels are pretty big. Yeah, if I saw that, and I'd probably be seeing it at a distance anyway, and I'd be like, what the fuck is that? And I'm like, I can just barely make out that it's a skeleton. It's like, nah, like, that wouldn't make sense to me, right? It's like, how is a skeleton being held together and staying on this camel?
Right.
I would be convinced that I just saw a vengeful spirit.
Yeah, it kind of was.
Scare the shit out of me. Well, I mean, this is kind of answered. How likely is he to exist? He did. He might not have been exactly what we thought he was, but pretty friggin' close, all things considered.
Honestly,
it was a red camel with a skeleton on his back.
Right, which just sounds made up and so cool.
Sounds like bullshit.
But isn't.
Now here's the real question.
Okay.
How likely is the red ghost of Arizona to be an alien?
Well, okay, so it is close, and so Arizona, New Mexico are close, so maybe...
Right, you got the whole Roswell bit going on there.
No, I don't think it was an alien.
Camels, obviously you associate them with pyramids, which is also very alien-based. I don't think we can rule it out.
I don't think we can rule it out, but I don't think it's an alien.
I don't think we can rule it out. I say sarcastically, you immediately bite.
Why do you gaslight me? You gaslight me all the time.
I'm just saying, not. Maybe it's an alien species, right? Where it looks like a camel with a skeleton on his back, but actually that's just like part of their weird biology.
It's like a weird Pokemon where the skeleton's like its tail.
Yeah, the real thing is actually the camel's ass.
Right.
I don't think it's an alien.
No, it's not an alien.
Yeah, I'm going to say a 1.
Yeah, I'm not even going to give it a 1. I'm going to give it a 0.
Damn. I don't know if we can do that. We rate them 1 to 10, not 0 to 10.
Okay, then it can have a 1, but it's a soft 1.
A soft 1. Sorry, Alien fans. I think it was just a camel with a decaying corpse on its back.
Yeah, which is metal.
Which is still sick as hell. Well, until next time, I suppose.
Until next time.
We'll see you soon with a very special episode next week.
Oh, you're going to shit your pants. I know I am.
We won't have something this Wednesday or this weekend, but the following weekend, perhaps.
Right, and it'll be like a mini obsession, but it'll probably be a long obsession.
No, I think we can do a whole...
Yeah.
I think we can do a whole episode on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
Don't want to give too much away about where we're going and what we're doing.
Right,
but
right.
You should enjoy it if you enjoyed several of Caitlin's topics, since they all had to do with this particular area and what happened.
Desperado, rough rider, no you don't want nada. There's 6 gunning this, brother running this. Buffalo, no.